It's Samuel.
Yeah.
He's bugs about bugs. What is this?
This is a Vietnamese walking stick. Um, they are an all-female species that don't need males to reproduce, and they eat lettuce, and they can just lay eggs whenever, and they live for a couple months.
They do not need males to reproduce.
That is correct.
Are there other species in the world that?
Yeah,
that-
definitely. Other kinds of insects, a lot of walking sticks don't need males to reproduce, but some fish, some lizards, and snakes can do that too. It's called parthenogenesis. Some animals can even switch back between mating and only having females, depending on their life stage.
Wow. So walking stick, someone gave it its name at some point. I kind of see the stick there, but how do they derive at the name of that particular bug?
It's basically just because it looks like a stick and it walks around. It's kind of exactly what it says on the tin, you know. Their scientific name actually means phantom because, you know, a lot of times in the forest they're so inconspicuous and you'll just see it all of a sudden. There's this giant insect sitting there. But yeah.
So what do you hope to do at the UW? Are you gonna teach or go to work for a company? What will your degree end up being? What are you gonna do?
Well, mine's in entomology and I'm a master's student, but my current aspiration is to get a grant called a Fulbright, which will let you do research in other countries. And I'm specifically interested in studying the different species of insects in Papua New Guinea.
During your studies, are you hope to discover anything new, or has anything not been discovered? Are there things out there? Have we discovered all the bugs in the world?
Not even close. I would say less than 1/3 are known, and you know a lot of them are going extinct even as we speak. Like insect species, there so many can be in a small area that even if one forest gets plowed over, a single species of insect can go extinct like that and no one even notices. So, I mean, even the ones we do know about, there's tons about their life history, their biology that we just don't know. So you could spend an entire life studying just one insect and still not find out everything.
What is the most fascinating insect to you personally?
It's difficult to say because I really love all insects, but I think some of the ones that change around their life history a lot, like some aphids go through a stage where they don't have males at all and they live on one plant, and then they totally switch in terms of appearance and lifestyle and suddenly become, they reproduce normally, they produce males and live on a completely different plant. So it's interesting to me when they can do those complicated shifts. They're between generations, between complex lifestyles like that.
How is that done? How do they shift like that? What's the science behind that?
They have different cues in their genome that will get turned on and off based off environmental cues. So some aphids switch across the year, their host plant. So maybe the day length will trigger that change and they'll suddenly grow wings and go fly somewhere else and go live on a different kind of plant.
That is just wild.
Yeah.
Are you listening to this, Dan? That is wild, as Johnny Carson would say. You probably don't know Johnny Carson, but don't worry about it. We'll get you on the old TV long ago. But anyway, so the walking stick, it looks very interesting. Is there any other one that's living that is not part of someone's sewing unit here? Or they've been.
Yeah, we got some Madagascar hissing cockroaches.
No, right here from Madagascar.
Yeah.
That's in.
Cockroaches. And it's not going to hiss. They can, but it's not going to because these are just so desensitized to people. They only hiss when they're scared.
What are those tentacles on the end?
Those are called antennae. They basically use them to smell their environment. They're called an antenna.
Do they have eyesight, vision?
They do. If you look closely, you can see the eyes right there. Looking right at you.
So that's a Madagascar cockroach, you said?
Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Hissing.
Right.
So you added the hissing. What are they useful for?
I mean, they break down a lot of stuff in forests, like old leaves and things like that. They're part of sort of the decomposing, recycling kind of thing. But I mean, these only live in Madagascar, so they're not important for our local ecosystems or anything. these are mostly just used as like a cool thing that we can show people.
It is very cool. Incredible. Any of the ones that kind of aren't living or are sleeping now with these pins in them, interesting or something unique about them?
I would say all of them are interesting and have something unique about them, but I guess
These butterflies are, this is beautiful.
yeah. I like this box more than this one because these are all native to the area, so I think that's kind of interesting. Yep, those live in Wisconsin. And in fact, this one's really faded. It would be a lot more vibrant and green when it was alive. It's called a Luna Moth.
And where is that found in Wisconsin?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I found them in.
From the Amazon, the blue one.
That's from the Philippines. Yeah.
Is there something like that in the Amazon?
I mean, this type of moth lives all around the world. Like, we even have ones locally here in Wisconsin. But of that size, I think only that species lives in, like, Southeast Asia, the Philippines.
So you said moth. What's the difference between a moth and a butterfly?
So, all butterflies are moths, but not all moths are butterflies. A butterfly is basically a special type of moth. But most moths, so the moths that are not butterflies, usually come out in the night, and there's like this little character that you can use to identify them. And butterflies have a club on their antenna, so it's like kind of like pea-shaped thing at the very tip, and moths do not. And butterflies are usually brightly colored too.
Is this one a monarch?
That is a monarch, yeah.
What's the lifespan from birth to passing for a monarch?
I think it's about a year, but I'm not an expert on monarchs, so I'm not entirely sure. I know that they migrate across large distances during their lifetime, and a couple of generations can occur during that cycle. But, I mean, their host plant's out for a while, so I'd assume there's probably a couple generations a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why do they migrate?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Finally, I stepped the genius here. The genius kid who's amazing. You've
Yeah,
been great
monarchs-
today
monarchs
talking
are not
about.
my forte.
That's okay. That's great talking to you. And you're in school. You're going to go and research is the big thing, and you're
Yeah.
going to be great at it. I'm sure. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.